tank. What's
Hey
there?
everyone, welcome to the Late Horror Show. Tonight we're talking Night Gallery, and I'm hearing things. So welcome. Do the intro, Dino.
Well, I mean, Dave's in his white shirt and tie because he was doing my taxes
I thought
early.
I was going to a meeting.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Fashionably late. What the heck? You changed your shirt that quick? What
Yeah.
the hell?
That's a long intro.
It's Superman. He's up. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Dave was working on, and I didn't mean to cut you off. It always happens. So
Yeah,
what are you going to do? But yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Horror Show. I am Dino, as always, and this is Dave Plouffe. Was never in Hong Kong because of the first story.
that's
that
right. Midnight
comes
never
out.
ends. Do.
Yeah. So we're here to talk some Night Gallery, and this week was interesting, Dave. A couple of interesting segments in Night Gallery this week. The first one was kind of Twilight Zone like.
Yes, I agree.
And there's something interesting we can talk about towards the end, that how it ended. I think there's something interesting we can just ponder and talk about. But this but the second one, whoa, a little bizarre, and the ending just don't, but we'll talk about it. It's going to be interesting. Anywho,
I'm like, what was that character's name?
oh geez, Brenda. Everybody, welcome. Thank you, Gigi. Right off the bat with some what was that? A super chat or a gift? Was Dave remember? What was that? Let me look real quick. And I don't know what happened with Tune. But thank you, Gigi, very much. Yes, so $20 super chat.
Oh, how nice.
Here are a couple of coffees for Dino and Dave. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Really do. And what happened to Tune? What's going on there? Where is Tune still in the chat? I don't know what happened there. Maybe hit the keyboard and went, I don't know. That happens.
Well, he fell asleep waiting for us.
It could be, yeah. We're fashionably late, Mr. Ed. Let me say hi to everybody in the chat. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Check out the description below for Dave's link to his channel, and where you'll see him and Bo walk around the garden every week. So there you go. With that, oh boy, Gigi, hello. Bizarre is good. Yeah. So, man, not always, Gigi. Sometimes bizarre is like, what the heck? But sometimes it's like, oh, that's interesting. So, Albert Jacobs, what is going on? Black Roses. Hey, Jody, how are you doing? Edward Stewart. Good to see you, Edward Stewart. Appreciate you as always. Connie Clary, as always. One Sean Bond. Nathan is here. Harry Scott, what is going on? Hi, Boy Donuts to you. Good to see you. Good to see you made it to a Sunday night, Sean. Who else? Mr. Ed, I've talked about. Tune is doing something. I don't know. I think that's it, huh? We got them all, right? There you go. Got them all. So, Dave, why the quick change of shirt? Is it too hot there with that tie? You were just said...
Hello. Yeah, it just reminded me too much of work, which starts beginning next week. So I start school teaching on Tuesday, and then the week after, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yuck.
There you go. Yuck is right. Okay, so here we go. We're on Night Gallery Season 2, Episode 7. This one aired November 3rd, 1971. The first segment, there's two segments, is Midnight Never is, what is it, Dave?
Midnight Never Ends.
Yeah, midnight never ends. And this episode was just very interesting. House Cut, John Swan, welcome, welcome. Where can I watch Night Gallery episodes? You can listen to us talk about them, or you can find them somewhere. Just, do the old Google search. Or if you've had them for years and years and years, then you have them, right? VHS copies. Go ahead, Dave. You look like you're very urgent to say something.
I'm always urgent. Thank
Wonder-
as she loves my channel. Our cats enjoy watching you and Bo. And
there you go.
did a new episode this morning, and Bo's right outside the window, the door here. Window,
Wow.
not something you could walk through. A door can. I wanted to actually already start talking about this particular episode. It
Yeah,
reminds
go
me
for it.
very much of Twilight
Twilight.
because of the signs that we start to see at the side of the roadway. It reminded me of the classic intro into the Twilight Zone episodes. And so I already felt that it had that flair, but particularly when Rod Serling is walking through the night gallery, you have all these beautiful paintings, very similar to the Lego set next to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't bring that up. This is an art gallery all lit up. It's got works of art on the inside. It lights up every section. In the back, you can open up the doors, see the art gallery. It is so good. So apropos to Night Gallery discussion tonight, I have my own little art gallery here, and it's got many works of art. And if you ever will see this on the inside, subscribe to Dino Brookhaven, and that's where all my Lego stuff is. But go ahead, Dave. Yeah.
So we've got Rod Serling walking through the artworks, and
Yeah.
he stops at this one, and it's of him, and it's so cool. And he
Yeah.
says, "A painting with a somewhat familiar face." And,
Yeah.
and it you guide the camera up, you kind of see a dark sky, full moon, and a clock that's the hands are at midnight.
Yes, and the man is sitting there like on whatever, the chair or rock or something, and all in dark shadow. And reminded me of me, a little bit, just sitting there in the dark shadows, and it is what it is. But yeah, and also the opening, driving along that road there, we haven't gotten that far yet, but a little David Lynch like too. Does remind you of like a Twilight Zone episode for sure, 100%, because of the twist at the end and how it goes. Well, actually, right from the beginning, it's Twilight Zone like. I mean, because of the Groundhog Day effect, which we're going to talk about with this episode or this segment.
What I wrote down.
Well, yeah, it's repeating itself over and over and over, and I thought it was very interesting on why this happens. I do think it's very interesting. It may not have been the fireworks of Night Gallery shows or episodes, but it most certainly had some interesting things. And towards the end there, it had me pondering some thoughts, and we'll get to that too.
All right.
But I liked them both. I thought they were both really good. Again, I don't think anything will top so far season 1. And even like this episode is just a little less than anything that we've done before, like even me and you. They're good, but nothing to write home about.
This is my least favorite Night Galleries I've seen.
Okay, that says it all.
They were again, they were still good to watch. It's kind of like going to Disneyland and riding one of the rides that's not the spectacular rides. Maybe like, I don't know, the Alice in Wonderland ride. When you're an adult, it's not that great compared to Matterhorn or Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean. And today's episode is sponsored by Yoo-Hoo, the chocolate.
The chocolatey drink that goes down nice and fresh and cold on the throat, right? Cold on the throat. Yeah, I mean,
As long as it's in the refrigerator.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, no. So this is yeah, this is very interesting. So let's get into it, Dave.
This fairly attractive woman driving this car.
Fairly.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
let me bring something else up real quick. And I'm sure you noticed the same thing. There's a woman in this named Frances Ann Emsden. There's a character, Frances Ann Emsden, in the episode. Am I wrong? Hold on, Dave. Who is she? Okay, so yes, in this segment, right? No, yes. Is there two women that play in this? There's Susan Strasberg that plays Ruth,
yes.
okay, in the car drive.
Yes.
But is Frances Ann Emsden the lady at the end? Because this says she's in the segment. Am I right? No, that isn't. That's the other segment. I am totally wrong. That's the other lady.
Yes.
Pamela Ferdinand. Okay, well, I take it back. Because I was wondering why the name was the same as all the other last names in the other show. You know what? Disregard this whole go on, Dave. Let's start the show. Man.
Oh, wow. City Gem, who, thank you very much for telling me about the Donna Mills television show Thriller the other week. These two episodes are one of my favorites from the series, so I'm glad you enjoyed.
Who said that?
Sin City Gem.
Really? Okay. Huh. Very interesting. Again, goes back to the discussions we've had over the years where,
well, it's like culture.
Everybody's worst episode sometimes is somebody's favorite, vice versa. But again, this wasn't bad. It's just,
By the way, I actually reached out to Pamela Ferdinand last night.
Did you really? Okay, nothing back yet.
Nothing back yet, but she is actually a very famous child actress. And when I saw her, I'm like, that's Pamela Ferdinand. And sure enough, I checked IMDb. It was, and I sent her a message telling her we were covering that episode and asked her if she had ever met Rod Serling.
Well, you should have told me that before I just totally, just don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's all good. Brian Lance Grimm. Yeah, it confused me because when I started off looking at the IMDb and all this other stuff, I go and look at who's in what segment, and I did go down and I swear I picked her name and it showed segment for Brenda or for the other, oh my God, Midnight Never Ends. But she ends up being in, she was the one with building the castle, right?
She was.
The little girl. Okay, so.
And if you listen to her voice as we jump ahead to Brenda.
We also get the Brenda is the girl from the Hawk, the Incredible Hulk from the 70s.
Oh.
So, yeah.
But Pamela, if you listen to her voice, it is the voice of Lucy in Charlie Brown.
Is it really?
It is.
Okay, see, I didn't have enough digging to do, but
Castle is that's Lucy.
That's Lucy, always taking that ball away from Charlie Brown. Woo! Okay, so listen, it's one of those weeks. I don't know what to tell you. It's always one of those weeks, ain't it, Dave?
It is.
Okay, so we start right off in the car. Ruth is driving, and you see this David Lynch drive along the highway, and it says, I love how it says 55 during the day and 45 at night.
Yeah.
Got 10 miles, and which makes sense, but if you're going 45 miles an hour, is there really a difference between that and 55?
In older cars, maybe.
Okay, maybe.
You gotta stop every while and put in oil.
Thank God you hit me going 45. If you were going 55, man, I don't think I would have made it. I mean, you get what I'm saying now?
No, I got you.
Silly. And then at 55s, why not 65? Well, that is most of the place, but Okay, so David Lynch, like, driving along the highway, and she starts to drive by, and you see this man on the side of the road. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Yeah, he's got a sign.
He's got a sign that says Camp Pendleton.
Or bust.
I should have written Camp Pendleton on the back of my notes. But yeah, it says
Or
Camp,
bust, and I would have taken the bust.
Camp Pendleton, and she pulls over. How you doing, soldier? Going to
Ooh,
Camp Pendleton?
yeah.
Sure enough, gets in the car and they take off together. I'm not picking up a soldier in the middle of the night when I'm a single woman driving a car that could break down at any moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting because the way they were acting at the very beginning, I'm like going, because he gets in a car, and this is Vincent Riley, is his name, and Ruth. We'll just go Vincent and Ruth. I'll call him Vinny or Vince. How about Vince?
Yo.
Yeah. Hey, Vinny, what you do? But he gets in a car, and I'm like, he's acting like he's going to kill her any second.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Because we haven't seen these episodes before. We don't know, and I didn't read what it was about. So I'm like, this dude's acting so weird, and like he's going to kill you any minute, you know. But then once you start getting into it,
Conversation.
it was a very weird
Yeah,
conversation.
it was like, hey, you headed to Los Angeles?
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm not. Do you live there? No. Do you have acquaintances there or family there? No. Then what the hell are you driving to Los Angeles for?
For a while, when you know that she's got a gun, I started feeling bad for the soldier, going like, dude, you may want to just duck and roll, especially
Yeah.
maybe that's why they have it at 45, so you can jump out when you're hitchhiking.
Yeah. At night, if you get picked up by a serial killer, you can just open the door and roll out and you'll be fine. At 55, I don't know, you may not make it, but hello, Rad Star. Good to see you. What is going on? And Brian.
Spelled reference when they were riding in the back of the limo.
Oh, yeah.
You can't jump out on the freeway. Yeah, you just duck and roll.
George Costanza says, yeah, we just duck and roll. Yeah, who are you? What are you ducking? Anyways, Seinfeld's so funny. So yeah, so they're acting funny and everything else, and
then he starts whistling.
Yeah. And she goes, what is that? I remember that. Yeah, she knows that song. And he goes, I know you do. But it's not
because I just wrote it.
Yeah.
The song I've been working on. And I don't remember him having a guitar when she picked him up. But somehow there's a guitar in the car. Because they're going to bring it into the diner.
Well, again, Twilight Zone-like, there seems to be things happening and things popping up, as they go along, like Vince keeps saying, well, that looks like another error. They did something wrong, like the door wasn't closed or something like that, or the gun wasn't there before. Why is it there now? You know what I mean? So I don't know.
And he starts on a little piece of paper.
Yeah.
Like a gum wrapper.
Yeah.
He writes down some words, and all of a sudden she says it, and he shows her what she just said, and she goes, well, that's so weird. It's like we've done this before.
Yeah.
And I wrote down,
he wrote, I'm so tired of driving.
Yeah.
New song. So yeah, so then that's when you kind of get the idea, and he starts talking about it, that this has all happened before. He knows Ruth. What do you got there?
Groundhog Day.
Yeah. But it's not that. I mean, it's a whole different thing, and I can't wait to really talk about that more than anything, really. But yeah, he knows Ruth, and then you start to find out, kind of Ruth knows Vince too, because he even says, he goes, my name as well, and she's like, huh? Yeah. So they both start saying, we know what's going to happen. It's strange. And he's thinking a lot harder than she is. And then it's a very odd thing, Dave.
It is. And I actually watched it because I think you have to watch Night Gallery at night. And so last night in
Yeah.
the dark around midnight, because it's a midnight never ends is the title. And it was like really extra creepy. You know, I'm hanging out with Bo. I got the windows open, the shades open. It's dark, and it just added to that atmosphere. So a lot different than watching it like during the day at noon. Um,
And
but what
what did you think of the title too? Midnight Never Ends. I'm not sure that goes with the segment at all, really. Could have come up with something a little bit. I thought, you know what my idea was, although it would have given away the segment writer's block.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, it would have, and people would have been watching the whole first, 75% of it and going, what the hell does that mean? Why is it, called writer's block? But then, you find out at the end. Thank you, Harry Scott. But better name, yeah. But Midnight Never Ends. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what if the guy's doing this stuff in the day? Anyways, so yeah, I even put, what are they, remembering past lives or something like that? So I'm trying to figure.
That's what I had thought at first as well.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, somehow they're inextricably linked through time and space type of thing.
Yeah.
But then they start going, what's going to happen next? We're going to drive along the road. We're going to stop at this diner. And Vincent's all like, why don't you just keep on driving? Which I thought was a great idea.
Yeah. And like change up, which this is the interesting part. I wish I could almost, I'm not ready to throw in what the ending is yet, but yeah, it's at this part where you wonder, like, why are these characters saying, let's change it up? Let's just keep riding. You know what I mean? Like what kind of, how sentient are they? You know what I mean? If I could go there, you know what I mean? But
it's so weird because as they talk about the diner, they talk about exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We've been through this before. We're going to be through this again. How many times why are we being forced to repeat this? What do we have to do to, get out of this, kind of way?
Cycle. Yeah.
And then like she knocks over her purse and a gun comes out, a little Derringer gun.
Yeah. And Vince goes, that wasn't there last time.
Yeah.
So something new. So there's kind of throwing in the idea that they keep repeating this, but there's always something new every time this happens, like when he was talking about the diner too. It's the Blue Danube Cafe, which I love old diners from the 40s and 50s. I mean, they're just fantastic. But he goes, you know what? Let's head for some coffee, the late night diner. He goes, we are going to meet a man there. Because she goes, it's going to be closed. He goes, we're going to meet a hefty guy. He's going to be mad. He's going to not want us in, to serve us, but we'll get in. So I mean, it's stuff like that where he's already telling the story kind of before it happens. And thank you, Harry Scott, for your member for 35 months at level 2 support. Thanks, Dino and Dave, for all the fun shows that you do. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate that. A permutation. I don't know that word. I don't know why I don't know that word, but what's that word, Dave?
If it's backwards, it's nation number.
That means I have no idea either.
Well, I remember my mom getting a perm in the 70s, and it was definitely a mutation.
Yeah, permutation. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I get you. I get you, John Swan. Radstar says, so weird. I took some pain meds last night, and I woke up just a little while ago thinking it was 12 noon. Wow. I'm glad you put that in the chat. I mean, I know a little bit more about you there, Radstar. But sorry that, you're taking pain pills.
It would be a little bit more if we knew what time zone he was in. So maybe it is.
Hey. Well, It's either Western or Eastern. Nevertheless, 12 hours later. I mean, come on, it's 12. So weird last night and 12 noon. So I don't know how long you slept. Yeah, it could have been a few. I don't know. That wasn't very polite of me. Anyways, I've been watching, or listening to on my podcast, the Marx Brothers podcast, Marx Brothers Council podcast. Such a good podcast. Anyways, there's Bo. B-O-W. Bo, what is going on? Edward Stewart, the diner set is recycled and appears in the episode The Tune and Dance Cafe. Yes, that was season 1, which I've covered already. Yeah, very good, Edward Stewart. Awesome. Okay, Dave. So take it wherever you want to go. I'm going to rest.
Before you were drinking your soda, I was going to say something profound, and now I just can't think of anything. It was brilliant.
If it's profound, just interrupt me, even with the sound. We don't want to ever lose profanity. I mean, the profoundness.
Now it's just a permutation.
We
We pull up
that word I've heard before.
All right.
Maybe just spelled differently. I don't know.
We pull up to the Blue Danube, and they get out, and there is this bush on the side of a window that's having like a nervous kinetic thing.
Okay, I was wondering where you were going with that.
It has a branch that's just going like this, and it's hitting the window, and it's like doing all sorts of weird stuff. And the guy Vincent, he goes up to it and like holds it. He's like, "Don't do that."
The bush is alive.
It was the weirdest part of this entire episode. It's like, why is it there? I don't understand.
Why did they take time to film it?
I don't know.
Because
if it had broken a window, if it had gotten the attention of someone inside, like, hey, there's people outside, things like that, or someone hiding in the bushes, great. But it made it look like it had rickets or whatever it is. It was just so disturbing. And what was bothersome too, it was a maple leaves and it was a bush. It should have been a tree if it's a maple. Anyway, a little horticulture knowledge there.
Yeah.
So
it was weird. Dave, you bring up a good point. It's not relevant to anything because the guy in the diner is closed up.
Yeah.
Counting his money. The lights are off. Why the branch hitting the glass would affect anything in the scene or that moment in this story, except for that Vince is aggravated when plants hit windows. You know what I mean? That's it. I mean, other than that, there's no reason for it. But that's what makes it weird. Like, he was talking to Radstar had to take pain pills, that kind of stuff. The whole diner suffers deja vu. Well, it's I mean, is it deja vu though? No. Well, we could talk about that. We'll talk about that at the end. Me and Dave are going to do some pondering, some paranormal pondering at the end of this segment. But
stay tuned.
If you were like, I don't want to go the route of I'm sorry. I'm trying to watch what I say, because watching this segment, both of them really, if you were like out of it, like in the hospital and they had you, set up an IV and you're just out of it, like half out of it, lights are off. So then you'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Jesus. Because it was a little bit trippy in that way, Am I wrong?
It was.
Yeah.
So they knock on the door. The heavyset guy, who isn't really that heavyset, comes over, opens it up. What are you hippies doing here, right? And
hippies.
Yeah, he's like scared of hippies. Hates.
You ever do the hippie shake?
Not in this century. So so they let him in, and Vincent goes over to Ruth and says he's cheating at solitaire. It's 8 of clubs on a 9 of clubs, so he's doing that. They want coffee, so they have 20 cents for 2 coffees.
The whole beginning, when they get to the door, what happens?
They knock.
But he says he's closed. But then he goes, what about the... He goes, what do you mean? You're going to call me a liar? How about the clock on the wall? And they look, and there's no clock there. And then he goes, well, what do you mean? The clock on the wall. And then there's a clock there, and it's 10 minutes till. And then he gets all nice, and he says, yeah, come on in, but you can only get a cup of coffee. Wasn't that better, Dave?
It was much better than my
Thank you.
of it that wants to jump ahead.
Yeah, the branch is hitting the window.
Thank
and
you.
then all of a sudden, she's counting cards on the table. Oh, man. And then there's a whole dynamic going on there between the three of them.
There is. They're all, we know who you are, and they give him his name, and you were in the military too, and blah blah blah, and you know your business is failing, type of thing.
Dave's on fire tonight. I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's just normal every day, Dave. Wait till I am on fire.
If he is, he's that shirt's going right up in flames. Okay, go ahead. Burning the leaf.
Again, they talk about more hippie talk. Like, are you guys hippies? He's, oh, no, I'm in a military. He's all, you can get that uniform from an army surplus store.
What? Was that a thing?
I don't know.
Did like older teenagers or young folk back in the day, would they go and get like uniforms and just go to pubs and diners and stuff?
And get coffee, make them open up after midnight?
Maybe that's the way they picked up chicks.
Maybe.
Oh,
but I always think of hippies as having long hair rather than short military cuts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was weird and odd. And again, Vince's conversation was going like he even told him. He said, you know, we know who we are. I mean, you know, I know what you know me. You know, and he's like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" And he goes, "No, Joe Bateman, what are you doing?" You know, it's like. But Joe wasn't having any of it,
no,
you know.
Like, hey, we're good friends from high school almost. You know, it was that type of a conversation. And then...
Oh, go ahead.
Well, one thing, too, is the set I thought was very interesting because everything above the not the counter, but the cabinet level is black. So you look up, you can't see the roof. There's no rooftop. And it really reminded me of that first night gallery you and I did together where the guy went up to like heaven, I think it was, or it was being taken care of a doctor, but he amputated his feet, and everything beyond
was a weird one. Yeah,
everything beyond the set was black. It was the same thing here. So the woman's just standing there, and it looks like she's
which leads to also that whole thing up blackness. You start hearing sounds which you think are on the roof, like it's hard to even make the sounds, like tapping, you know, or something going. It was really weird. And got you again. If you didn't know what the story was, you would be like, "What the hell? Are aliens coming on the roof? What's going on?" It just was really weird. Yeah, but you start getting the sound, and it starts leading up to the climax of the segment. But at this point, go on, Dave. Ruth's
standing there, and she's all, you know, the sheriff's going to show up because the door is open and it's after closing time.
And Vince goes, "Oh, look, the door, another error."
So the sheriff does show up. They all hear the weird noise together.
Yeah, they do.
The guys all like, you know, who are you? You know, do you know each other? You know, where are you headed? Oh, I'm headed to Camp Pendleton. He goes, no, I think you're a hippie too, you know. And start arguing. And the sheriff, I'm like, I know the sheriff. He's going to be in a later edition, actually 2 editions. One we'll watch, one sucks, so we won't watch it, of Columbo. And he plays a police officer, but a very portly police officer toward the end of his life. He dies very, very young, around the age of 59, which he looks like to be 65 as a sheriff in this episode, but he's really like 52. So he only lives a few more years in real life after this episode, unfortunately, because he was like my more favorite actors from Columbo.
Man, you know what? Something popped up in my thing about the Little Rascals, you know, all the characters who how long they lived and what they died from and all that. And so, man, Froggy, on his electric scooter. Remember, hey, it's Froggy. I'm gonna Frog. It dies at 16 years old. Is 21 years old on his motor scooter. It's just, oh my God, the deaths of little rascals. You gotta look that up.
Died down the street from me.
Really?
He died in La Puente, which is the next city down, but we share a major thoroughfare.
Yeah.
And, he died on that in a motor scooter, got hit by a car. Just awful.
Well, yeah, wow. Unbelievable. And even Darla at a very young age. Anyways, and Alfalfa, we all know that. Some of them not getting, well, now we're going in that Little Rascals talk. I'll stop. Okay, so the sheriff is there, and he's giving them trouble, and he's saying, listen, you guys aren't leaving and stuff like that. And, some stuff happens, Dave.
Some stuff does happen. But
stuff happens.
Vincent does start going like, hey, can any of you remember your past?
Mm-hmm.
When you were a kid, what happened last week? What was the Blue Plate special today?
Yeah.
And they're all standing there.
Like
and the sheriff especially gets agitated.
Yeah.
Going like, you guys need to leave. You need to leave right now. And of course, Vincent pulls out the gun that he had taken from Ruth.
Yeah.
And of course, you're not going to pull out a gun with a police officer there. Police officer, sheriff shoots him dead several times. And he's all like, they got me.
It was like that. It wasn't like anything real, like violent or nothing like that. It was just like, oh, yeah, like you said, no blood, no nothing. He's just like,
very, very dramatic, very, very PG type of death there.
Yeah. Then we get to what this whole segment was really about. And all of a sudden we go to
everyone, because we hear the tapping.
Yes.
The guy's on the floor dead. No one's like going to aid him or anything like that.
No.
They all stop and they all look up, like as if they're in transcendence.
And it just goes up, and then it goes right into the next scene, and the guy's typing on a typewriter.
In total 70s apartment.
Yes.
We got the shag carpeting. We got the wood panels on the wall. The wife, she's dressed up in a 70s nightgown. It's just so disturbing. And it's, of course, a really
disturbing. This is disturbing?
It's disturbing.
Why is it disturbing?
Because I didn't like the colors.
What? It was black and white.
It was
black.
That part of the episode.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'm watching a black and white version. Listen, I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'm colorblind too.
Black and white until it gets to present day, and then it's color.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay, so
join us next week for Cold Chat.
Yeah. See, Johnny's losing it. See, he's got one to the temple. Anyways, so yeah, no, I get. Well, it looked fine to me. Listen, I have no problems with the 70s. I'm tinkering with the idea of just changing the whole place to 70s. Get the shag carpeting, get the furniture with that ugly, weird green couch. Maybe some orange, yellow. Yeah, no, I might do it, Dave. But he's okay. So the guy's typing, and then he pulls out the paper, throws it in a ball, and throws it in a big basket, and it's overflowing with baskets. And his wife's over there sleeping, on the not sleeping on the couch, but laying on the couch. And evidently, this is all about he can't get the story straight or right. He just keeps changing it up. Nothing's quite right. He can't get the story perfect. And it's driving him nuts. So he keeps redoing it. And I thought that at first I'm like, that's odd. That's really odd. So let's go back to the characters, right? This is what I did.
Well, the show's not quite done yet.
Well, finish it up then.
All right. So the wife, she kind of comes around her husband with, her hands and everything, like, come to bed. And he's all...
She comes around her husband with her hands?
her hand. She starts, from behind and everything.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then she's all,
And the husband came up to her afterwards with his feet and his head and his, and he's like, oh,
this is one of the weird things. She goes, I know the way that this should end is that the wife kills the husband. And then she walks out of the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the hell is going on here?
That was weird.
I'd want to go into the bedroom after this, but is she saying that he's spending too much time typing this one scene or whatever with these characters?
She said it with a smile, though, so it was like a fun little expression she said there.
Yeah. So then, he's out typing again, and all of a sudden we're back, deja vu. We're on the road. She picks up the Marine, but
starting all over.
He's more decorated this time, and this time he's got the guitar, that he's bringing around with him. So it's a little bit more cohesive. Yeah. And he, of course, looks at her and goes, "So you going to Los Angeles?" End credits.
Yeah. So there, but the basic premise is that he's a writer, and he keeps changing up his story. But then it threw me back to the characters. The characters were so real, that it's like, okay, in the story, is he really making these characters come to life? Are they really living out this existence of repeating a life over and over and over different ways, that short little period there? But are they really living an existence? You know what I mean? I know it's a show, and they have to film what he's doing. What's going on? It's funny. Joe Namath had llama rugs. Is that what you're laughing about? No. My neighbor has an avocado green fridge.
Your comment of, I know it's a show.
Well, I would hope so. But I mean, it brought on this imagination in my mind, this hypothesis of life in general. You know what I mean? Of these parallel pathways of your life could go this way, it could go that way, it changes all the time. What if you go back in time, you kill your father, and then are you still living? It varies. So there's stories, you can't even count, right? Trillions, zillions, bazillions, gazillions of stories just here on Earth. I'm not going to go anywhere farther than Earth, because this is the only place we know where life is, even though there's more than that. I would think you would know that, right? Or are you? You never know. But listen, there's stories out there. I know, Dave. What if somebody's writing something right now for what we're doing? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it brought up this imagination.
Think about that.
I know that's a pretty sad thought, right?
No, it's very interesting, but it's also a little scary that we're living, a life that someone else has planned out for us. Hello, Ezra Carter.
Well, hey, Ezra. Well, whoever it is, I mean, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, how is our life laid out in front of us? Who's in control? Listen, I know this can bring up a whole mess of stuff, but who lays out our life for us? But I just thought it was fascinating, the fact that there's somebody there typing. Can you imagine typing and bringing about the existence of life?
But okay,
over and over and over and over again, the way you want it to be fulfilled. Anyways, listen, it's just me in my mind and in my imagination. Go on, Dave. Say what you got to say. We'll move on.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. What I felt was that these characters, this writer was so good that these characters were really, truly coming to life. As people and as avid readers, we look at many of these characters, not AKA, but as an example, wow, Sherlock Holmes. Remember when Sherlock Holmes...
I'm rubbing off on you, Dave.
I guess so. When Sherlock Holmes was killed off, there was huge outrage, and people made Arthur Conan Doyle bring him back in a kind of mysterious, really cool way and wrote another 12, 13 stories of the Sherlock Holmes, novels. We think about this with Harry Potter. He's larger than the text.
Yeah.
We think about Kathy Bates in Misery, that you killed off my favorite character. How dare you? We become really obsessed with these characters, and they are real characters in someone's life. So this reminded me of the Twilight Zone, where you have these characters in kind of a cylinder, a silver cylinder, and they interact and they talk for the whole show, and then we find out at the end of the show they're just dolls, and they're laying there, and this little girl comes and picks out one or two, and she starts interacting with them as action figures. And I think it's kind of it brought me that type of ideas swirling around in my brain about these characters and bringing them to life, so that there is a sequel to a book, that we do have feelings for these characters, which I really didn't have any feelings for these particular characters. When the Marine died, no big deal.
Oh, right. Yeah.
When the woman was just standing there, it's like, is she on drugs?
Who cares? Yeah.
There was no connection to these characters, and maybe that's why he is rewriting the scene, because he's missing something. So,
wow, I went deep one way and you went deep another way. So yeah, no, I get that 100%. Yeah. A good analogy with the Twilight Zone episode. So that's another way you can think about it too. But when it comes down to it, it's all about the imagination of the mind, the thought process of character development, characters. If you want to get down to just the science of writing and filmmaking and in general. But yeah, no, I went somewhere way far away, and just that's what my mind does. It's more imagination. It's more of what could be, is this possible, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So anyways, episode concluded, the end. Next segment, we are going to go to Brenda. Oh, but well, it's 10 till. We're whipping through this like frosting, maybe, or scrambled eggs. I don't know.
Let's do that again.
We're whipping through this like scrambled eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's a good break point where we can talk about our future episodes. How many people are watching, by the way? Because I'm on.
Who the hell knows? 48. Looks like 48. Something.
All right. Thank you, 48, for watching.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Please make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. It's a like button. It's underneath the video where you see us right now. Underneath there's a little thumb like that. You can click that, or you can click the down button if you hate us. Do that too. I mean, I don't care. Thumb's a thumb. What? But thank you. I really appreciate it, and love you guys hanging out with us every Sunday. So there you go. Yeah. Dave, what the heck do we got coming up in the future?
Because I have my list right here. Next week, we're going to be doing the X-Files, the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
Season 1, Episode 5. The week after, Circle of Fear. The week after that, Columbo, the Most Crucial Game, starring Dean Stockwell and Robert Culp. Then 4 weeks from now, Art Bell, Ghost to Ghost, 2003. And the last one I'll say, September 21st, Kolchak, The Ripper, Season 1, Episode 1. Dino and I have not done that one together. We might just go ahead and do the whole freaking season again, because even on the not Night Strangler, the Night Stalker we did last week, 2,000 views already. So thank you all for watching that and being part of the excellence that is Kolchak.
Yeah, we could call it Kolchak Revisited,
We could.
And we could go through it, and we could talk about things, not the way we talk, chronologically. We could just overall just talk about the episode and other things than the first go around. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's possible, but listen, whatever. We'll see. We'll
We
see.
got lots of stuff to do.
Yeah, we got lots of stuff. It's possible, but who the heck knows? Like a hot knife through butter, Dino. Yeah, through butter. Okay, so Dave, what do we got coming up? Oh, we already.
X-Files, The Jersey Devil,
Yeah.
Season 1, Episode 5,
Pew,
followed
pew.
by The Circle of Fear,
Yeah.
Concrete Captain.
You forget? Uh-oh, did Dave?
Reading Ed Stewart.
Oh my God, I thought he froze, man.
Who?
You
No.
you literally were frozen. I love this gun.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'll keep you right there in case I need to use you. You never know, Dave.
You don't.
You never, ever, ever know. Okay, so what did Edward Stewart say? He said the clicking noises in the background are revealed to be Vincent typing his story. Wait, what?
No Vincent Price in this episode.
Yeah, I know, right? Who's struggling to complete the Edward, did you step away for a few minutes? We said all of that. What? Are you muted? Are we muted?
It's the humidity in Florida.
Yeah, we spent 10 minutes on that. Anyways, okay.
Hit the refresh button.
Did you? So do I. Did you go to make some? Listen, I don't know, man. Yeah, we covered that for 10 minutes. Okay, Dave, did we say all the shows? Do we got something else?
I think that's plenty.
That's plenty. Okay. Oh, and in October we got In Search of, right? Isn't it October?
No.
November.
It's gonna be November.
Oh man, it's so far away.
I know, but it's not
what's
really.
the hold up, man.
I mean, a month from now, it's going to be mid-September.
That's true. So it comes faster than you think. That's what she said.
Albert Wits End was like back there like 2 weeks.
Dave always seems to be at his wits' end. Well, you know, he puts up with me. I don't know how he does it. But he does. I don't know. There's something wrong with Dave too, I think. Who would do a show with that, Dino? You got to be nuts. Anyways, listen.
Thinking back on Albert Jacobs, that would be a nice name for a house. Where do you live? Wits End. I'm always at Wits End.
He never leaves the house. Yeah, no. Is that Marlon the Martian's gun, Dino? No, that's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That's what that is. And if you don't know what Killer Clowns from Outer Space is, it's these clowns from outer space. Connie sent this to me, and thank you, Connie. That's a good. Dave's getting bored. Come on, let's move on. Okay, you all right, Dave?
Yes.
You need a heating pad?
Yes.
I do too.
Did you like this second episode better or worse?
Oh my God. I think equally, Dave. I don't know if I could put one ahead of the other. I mean, I did enjoy both of them in different ways. Maybe this one a little bit better. If you had to put my arm behind my back, go, second one. You know what I mean? So yeah, okay.
I like the first one better. I thought it was really, really good. I did not like this one at all, but I thought it had some really interesting points to it.
You didn't like the bratty Brenda running around like
just want to punch her out.
That's what made it so good. It was that
smile, like
this. She was pure evil.
She was.
And I know there was a movie that was made, The Pit and the Pendulum, something. No, what was the movie? Did you look that up? There's a short story for Brenda, and it kind of ends the same way that this ends, where you don't really, you have to interpret a little bit, and it'd be interesting to see what Dave has to say about the ending, and me too. Even now, I don't really know what to say about the ending, because it was weird. And there was that last sentence Brenda said, I couldn't make out the one word in the sentence. So I'll ask you, but you might not have either. So I don't know. I think I did, but I don't know. Because there's something wrong with her, Dave.
Oh yeah.
There's something wrong with this girl. And we'll get right into it. So the story's about Brenda, Dave. We'll start us off.
Well, all right. Well, we're back in the night gallery, and Rod Serling says, "I hope you never get that lonely." Thank you, Mr. Ed. So we've got this early.
Well, you know what? That's what was a little sad. I mean, Brenda has no friends. But then once the segment starts to continue to go on, I go, well, there's a reason why she doesn't have any friends. You know,
Right.
There's something wrong with her.
Yeah, we really don't care for Brenda at all from the very beginning.
And it's either something mentally wrong or she's let the devil in. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Praise the Lord. Help this child. You know,
Oh.
that's. I mean,
Yeah.
She needs something. I mean,
Yeah. Even Linda Blair turned down this role because she thought the kid was too evil. I mean, it was swarmy. It was snarky. It had that. She had that devil, that Cheshire cat smile. She just was not a very lovable character, and you wanted her to die. You know, I mean,
wait a second. What?
Yeah.
I didn't want her to die. I felt.
Oh,
in a way, I felt sorry for her at towards the end there because you go.
Oh, I don't.
There's something.
At the end, it's weird. The end kind of changes, but there's a point where she's right at that edge of a crowd.
I get it,
and you want to push her over.
I get it, but you know what? Even the father, like halfway in the middle of this, is sitting there talking to her, saying, "What did I tell you, Brenda? What did I tell you? There's two doors. There's a door that says good on there,
Weird.
and there's a good that says there's a good that says there's a door that says good, and there's a door that says evil, and they'll both come knocking, something like that. I can't, but don't ever let them evil in. You let good in, right? But you don't ever let evil in. So there's two doors, and you're thinking, well, this girl let the evil, and she's just doesn't care. She's laughing. She's already let the door. She already opened this door. Father shouldn't have told her about the two doors, Dave.
No, and it's one door should say good, and the other should say Brenda. That's what it is.
Dave does not like Brenda.
No.
But this woman, Brenda, let me hold on a second real quick. Brenda is Lori Prang, I think is. You would know her from The Incredible Hulk. She's the one with Bruce Banner throughout all the episodes. So that's where you would mostly know her from. Hunter, The Love Boat, stuff like that, but was only in 45 things. So, I mean, you know, not a whole lot. She's still alive. So, you know, I mean, she was born in 1952. So that puts her around 50, 75, 6, something like that. Or no, 4, 74, Dave? I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. So let's go to Brenda. 60
Okay.
likes.
So we first of all, we try to develop a relationship with Brenda because she's out.
But they can't. It doesn't work out.
No, it never will.
No.
So she's out there in the garden, she's looking, there's a butterfly, and she tries to reach for the butterfly and it flies away.
Oh, do you not like how, okay, the story of Brenda who has no friends. And they start off with this very fairy tale, like, oh, I'm prancing through the woods, through the, you know, look, here's a butterfly. I want to go grab it. Maybe the butterfly will be her friend, Dave, you know, but then it all goes downhill from there.
And even the butterfly knows to fly away, because if she caught the butterfly, she would pull the wings off of the butterfly. That is who Brenda is. So
73 already. We went from 60 to 73.
70.
And here he says, just sitting around waiting for Brenda to die. Oh, yes, Dave. Dave, that was classic. Anyway.
All right. So then Brenda's out walking and by the pines, by the ocean. It's looking very pretty, you know, and she comes across the hillside and she looks down, and there's one of her friends, Pamela Ferdinand.
Well, not one of her friends. They're not friends.
No, they're not.
She's got no friends.
So Pamela is downstairs. She's like playing in the sand.
And this is when she's a little hysterical too. It starts coming right out. She's like laughing, making this funny face like she's possessed.
This is my comment. Okay, well, let me get it. We get a close-up of her face. Quote,
you weren't going to talk about this? Go ahead.
It's freaky. Noises like a machine, and walks over to the sand castle. And she starts to growl. She goes, you know, and gets all weird. And it's like a close-up of her face. And then she starts walking, you know, like a robot down the hill right toward the sandcastle. And the other girls all like, no, no. And the girl just walks right through the sandcastle. I would have shot her right there with the gun from the Marine from the first episode.
Yeah, she destroys her sandcastle and she looks at her like, you know, and what's her name again?
Her is Pamela Ferdinand.
Elizabeth, is it Elizabeth?
That sounds
Flora.
That's fine.
Elizabeth, listen.
Yeah,
she's looking at her going, yeah, she's like, nobody likes you here. Why do you keep it? And she's crying. She's showing so much emotion. Good actress. I hope she gets back to you and we can talk to her. Why the hell not? I mean, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, come on. But she's crying. She's like, yeah, this is why everybody hates you. And she goes, then Brenda's just like, you know, I'm like, she don't understand, Dave. She needs to be somewhere under supervision. She don't get it that she did something wrong. If this girl isn't controlled,
she doesn't need to be grounded because she'll just sneak out. She needs to be in an institution.
We needed a full-length horror film in the 70s, a slasher type film where Brenda just goes crazy. Refer to Night Gallery.
Yes.
You know.
We can call it the permutation.
Yes, because nothing affects her. She seems like, well, the end, something affects her. I mean, even the worst of the worst gets hit with something or attached to something. Anyways,
yeah. So he goes, you know, well, like, whatever, I'm out of here, you know, thanks, you know, and walks away from Elizabeth. And then she's walking again through the hills. I guess she's camping. We don't realize until later that they're on an island together, which is really weird. And there's about 6 families on the island, and they're very well.
A summer vacation on this island.
And it's not just like a week long. They're there for the entire summer. And
well, I would be too. Yeah, you know. Although I pick a better island. I don't know. This looks.
I pick one without Brenda. Either that or I need a discount on my home. Yeah, because she alienates everyone on the island. Everyone knows who it is. So then she's walking through the woods.
It's like Little Red Riding Hood going through the.
I wrote down the sound of music.
The sound of music. Okay.
You know, singing around, and she stops because under a pine tree is Richard Keel. And
I was going to say the Spanish moss murder.
He is. He's dressed up as the Spanish monster, and he, you know, and we've got this basically.
It looked like something like H.R. Puffin stuff. It looked like
It did. It was like Sigmund and the Sea Monster. It was the sea monster, you know, coming around at you. It had a couple of legs, you know. It was.
It just covered. It was a grass man. It was covered in grass.
There was no her back. There was some eyes. There were some shells. There was some seaweed attached to it. So it didn't look like a pine monster or a plant monster. It was very, you know, just gelatinous.
Bush-like. It was like a rock bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really weird, like a grass man, but like a rock grass man. It was a very odd creature. And yes, it kind of rises up and it's very round. So it's you know, it's a very round rock type monster. Yeah.
And then the music starts playing, and it's a weird music that was playing during this scene where she tries to run away from this monster. Yeah. And this is where she hits the edge of this giant pit that looks like it's been dug out with.
Did she say you can't catch me at this point?
Oh yeah, she's teasing the monster.
Yeah, she looks at it and she goes, "You can't catch me." At first she was scared, but then when it started chasing her, Dave, it was like a bloop, 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 bloop. You know, I mean, it was this weird
movie. It like you can run away from the zombies, but they tend to catch everybody. It was the same thing here. And so then, she gets to the edge of this pit and she goes,
there was a I think it was 50s, maybe early 60s. I can't remember the movie, but it was a sci-fi movie. You know, how bad and cheesy a lot of them were is why I like them. But it wasn't the monster, the Yucca Flat monster, but maybe it was. I don't, but there was this creature that the director would go, okay, they would corner the people, and there's a door right there, and they wouldn't go out the door. They would move the opposite. It was like a rock monster too. But it was like that kind of thing where, you know, it chases. Oh, go get Bo. It was like a creature that would chase the victims into a corner and didn't move very fast, but he's going to get them. And that's how a lot of those early sci-fi movies were in the 50s or 60s. You know, a monster that, you know, they're going to corner you when there's a door right there and you could get out of it. Yeah, no, it cracked the hell out of me. Hopefully everything's all right. But Bo, I think, unless Dave's got some visitors at the door. Swamp Creature, Blair Witch. Did they give you pamphlets, Dave?
Delivery.
Was it? Oh, it was Amazon.
Yep. That's mine.
All right, we need a signature, sir.
All right.
But anyways, it reminded me of that. I'm sorry. Now you can go ahead. We're at the quarry where she's led him. Whew.
So the quarry, the monster's there. Brenda's hiding behind some like shrubbery, some bushes.
What is a quarry, Dave?
You said it. You know, I think it was just a big pit that basically someone started to dig like on Oak Island and just gave up halfway through.
Yeah.
So Brenda's on the side and she picks up some rocks and she throws it into the pit, and the monster like hears the hitting off of the ground, and it looks over, and after about 3 hits of a rock, he looks over too far and he falls in this weird, like, you know,
Dave,
like hitting the different levels and falling, and you don't hear any noise, but he ends up on the ground. And then she starts harassing him like, "Oh, can't get out, can you?"
Yeah, it was.
She is pure evil.
Yeah, it was weird. This scene was not saying that the whole segment wasn't weird, but this was weird also because, yeah, I mean, she moves over a little bit, and Amazon guy looking at you through the window now.
Oh, this time the neighbors.
Oh, they're looking through the window.
Something happened.
Oh boy.
Up after their party.
Jeez. If you gotta holler, just mute. You know that. Anyways, I'm telling you, get a big slingshot that goes shoots. You throw pies, Dave. Okay, so what I thought was really weird with this part of the episode was when she went over, she started throwing rocks in the pit. Like, listen, this creature is also dumb as a rock, literally, right?
100%.
Dumb. And I don't understand. This was all confusing, Dave. It really was, because the monster didn't seem to have a purpose. Well, although maybe it did at the very end, I don't know. But the monster is basically just, you know, prancing around maybe came up from, like she says, there was a little storm where the water went down. There was mossy rock, and so maybe it came up from there, came onto the island, and
Yeah, it was just a bizarre like genesis of this monster. Why is it there? We don't know it. It doesn't fit into any legend. We don't have any backstory of this island of monsters or anything like that. And again, Brenda, she's laughing at it, and then she runs away, like, "Oh, you're stuck there. Goodbye." And she
but do
runs.
you like how it fell down? Like,
Well, that's what I was saying. It would like it hit several different layers, and it was just like
but
so.
it was a man in this big, like,
Oh,
you know how the blow up, suits,
it was like the
costumes.
Bubble Boy from Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was like a big, like, like the prisoner, that ball that would bounce. Imagine putting a big monster grass man in there. Glad I brung that up again. Memories, good old memories of
The
prisoner.
artifact.
The art- he is like a, I don't know. It might have needed a reshoot because, man, he went boom, 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 and he couldn't get up. This creature was, again, almost like an amoeba. I mean, it was dumb. Anyways, and she's taunting it, like you said. Just, I didn't know if she was taunting it as in, I got you in there now. Now you got to be my friend, and I'm going to talk to you and stuff. But it wasn't even really that, Dave.
No, it wasn't. It was like, hi, you can't get out. You're stuck there, and I'm free, and I can go and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Cut scene, we get to meet Brenda's dad. And he's like working on his little parasailing thing on the beach, and he's ripping Brenda a new one for, destroying the sandcastle.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You need to go over, not apologize to Frances Ann, the girl whose sandcastle gets destroyed, but to Frances Ann's parents."
Yes, because they both like how polite you are. What?
Nope. Then we hear the story of the two doors, the good door and the bad door.
Yeah.
I wrote down at this point, Brenda needs counseling.
Yeah, because she's almost laughing at her dad too.
And then we get a cut scene of Brenda in her room. I guess she got grounded. And we've got some lights, and she's doing her hands as, little shadow puppets on the wall. And at this point, I thought maybe we'll see the shadow of the swamp creature that had actually gotten out of the pit, and it's going to kill her and eat her. That would have just made my day.
Yeah.
But then we go over, we're at Frances Ann's house. She apologizes to the family. She says, "Hey, Frances Ann, I found something really cool. Why don't you come with me?" And Frances Ann, not a dumb girl, says, "No, I'm going to pass." And because what I thought was going to happen is she was going to get Frances Ann, push her in the pit with the swamp monster, and it'd be like battle bots until the end. But,
well, then she would have committed murder, and that would have been a whole different type of episode.
totally.
But yeah, but the whole thing there was how nice she was, and the parents appreciate her. Brenda, she's got good manners, which I don't. It goes to show you that Brenda can fake to the parents that she's nice, but she's not really. But then when she wanted to invite her to that pit to see the creature, in front of her parents, she was being mean.
Yeah.
And the parents and the mother kept saying, "She don't want to go with you, Brenda. She don't want to go."
Right. So we do end up having Brenda going back to the pit, and she's, again, kind of laying on the edge and starts talking to the monster, saying, "You've been around forever, haven't you?
You're old.
Yeah, you're
You're old, aren't you? Yeah, you're very old."
Like something clicks in her brain, and she pulls some branches and some tree roots to where the monster can climb up, but she's still scared of the monster, and she runs away. But we can see that the monster is now out of the pit, and it's loose on the island once again.
When are people going to learn you don't poke around the meteor shite? Yeah.
Yeah. And so then later at night, again, she's laying in bed. She hears her voices of her parents. She goes to the edge, tries to overhear this story. Sounds
I
like they're.
couldn't make out what they were saying.
I couldn't either.
Okay.
And so I was worried that was just me and it was getting too late at night.
No, I turned
But
it up and I'm like, I still can't mumbling. What's
yeah,
the point of even that they were arguing or something? I don't know.
it didn't sound like an argument. It would
It
sound like
didn't.
this is happening down the street and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
then the dad comes in, he goes, hold on a moment. And he looks, sure enough, Brenda's on the staircase. I knew you would be out of your room and overhearing, and you get back in there and close the door.
Oh,
my,
maybe they were talking about the night they were about to have.
I don't know. I don't know.
But
But so then we got a full moon out the window. We look up and we're all okay. Werewolves or something going on. But Brenda wakes up. She goes over to her parents' room. They're sound asleep. Rushes downstairs, unlocks the door. Got a big wedge lock going through. Opens the door up. And she's all like, I'm going back to bed. Let's hope the thieves don't take everything. But
yeah, she knew she was, I guess, letting in the creature. I don't know.
Yeah. So sure enough, she wakes up early dawn, maybe, and she hears the dad and the mom yelling, and the dad's got the creature right there. And I don't know what he's holding him off with. Was it a baseball bat? Does that sound right? Because it wasn't a gun, because the other guy brought a gun.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was something like that. Yeah. Yeah, but the monster, the creature, which again looks like an HR Puffin stuff type round type figure. It was really weird. But he's standing right by the door, and the father's saying, "I don't know what to do. And the wife is Flora's.
Hey,
yeah, call the neighbors. Call the neighbors.
him.
He'll know what to do. What the hell's wrong with her father? I don't know.
I don't know.
Very
Jim
good. I guess I never
over,
saw this
right?
episode.
Jim's got a gun, throws the gun on the couch. He says, hey, we're going to use these torches, like everyone's got torches there on the island. I mean, the entire island is flammable. It's not Survivor.
Dave.
Yes.
So okay, the gun won't work, but the fire will. I mean, how does he know that the gun won't work?
Let's at least try it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's seen the creature before, but what's that got to do with him knowing the creature's weakness? They don't know this much about the creature, I don't think.
I wouldn't imagine.
Did you notice when they were... You might have to go back and look again, Dave, at this scene, because he's got... Okay, they give the torches in the hand. Yes. At that particular moment, when they drop the gun and they put the torches and they start to go after, you can see the mother. She's laughing. She's not scared or hysterical. Okay. She's laughing like it's a mistake in the episode and she couldn't hold her laughter in. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go back, because if you didn't catch that, she's laughing. And I'm like going, what is going on here? That's got to be a goof. And he just left it in, whoever was,
doing the editing,
or didn't get it. I don't know, because you can hear her go, and I'm like going, either she's nuts, and that's not the case, or she laughed and they just didn't take it out of the scene. I don't know. It was very fun. Then they start walking the creature out.
Hold on. Here's the whole thing. Okay, it's not bad.
Here's the kicker.
It's not bad enough to have a gun on the inside of a home. You've got lighted torches in the living room.
Yeah.
That was just like me having a lighted torch here. It ain't going to happen. No. You got smoke, you got debris, you're going to burn down your house. And they go, whoa, whoa. And
the whole time Brenda's still at the stairs looking down like she's possessed.
My quote was, evil child smile.
Yes. Oh, and giggling. She's like, yeah, this is fun.
Total Damien moment.
Oh yeah, it's fun for her. Oh my God, I can't believe the monster's here and they're gonna fire. It's gonna not, and they walk it out the door, but they're not burning it, Dave.
No,
the gun ain't gonna work, but we think the fire will. But let's just, like Frankenstein, push it out the front door, and you can go from here to the morning. But whatever the hell happened,
we don't quite know what happens, you know. But ironically, the monster gets put back into the pit.
They all come in the morning.
Right. So dawn comes around.
Yeah, we took care of the business. Yeah.
And by the way, all 6 of the guys are wearing robes. That was weird.
Well, all night long, they were they're chasing with torches,
wearing their evening robes. Yes.
Yeah, their evening robes. Like they went and whipped it off. This is too hot. Oh.
Brenda's up in the bell tower, right? And she's looking out the window going, "Hey, Dad, what you doing? Like nothing ever happened." And he goes, "Go to bed."
Oh my gosh. It was such a twisted scene. This whole episode, it's really weird. And we didn't even get to really the weirdest part yet.
No, and we only have 5 minutes left. So, well, what we do is we go back to the pit. And in
Brenda
the very middle of the pit.
Yeah, Brenda gets up and runs back to that pit.
Yeah. And we see that out of all the places on the island, the monster's back in the pit, but it is surrounded by rocks. And
yeah, like they buried it with rocks.
Yeah, and it's not quite dead, because what she does is she gets down into the pit herself, and she like hugs the rocks, and she goes, "Are you in there?" And you hear this, and she goes, "Oh."
No, it makes a like a weird sound.
That's a better
like a swamp creature sound. I don't know. I mean, it was more like a swamp type creature. Listen, I don't know what the hell it was really, but there's rocks all on top of it, like a triangle about 7 feet tall, something like that. Oh, you know, so I guess that's what took most of the night, Dave. I don't know how they killed it, because they had torches.
Well, luckily, Brenda had thrown a lot of those rocks in the pit already.
But what did they get it in the pit? And they said, start piling up the rocks around it, because it was dumb, you know.
Who put the top last rock on? Does that like seal it in there?
I don't know.
It was just
there
so
were
weird.
parts of it
if
poking
you were
out.
Swamp monster. First of all, it wasn't big enough for that swamp monster. The swamp monster was at least twice the size. It could have just turned around. Rocks would have fallen everywhere. It was weird.
Thought, yeah.
So then Brenda looks up, and the dad's at the edge of the pit. "What are you doing there? Come on, we're leaving the island tomorrow." "We're leaving?" She goes, "Yeah, summer's over.
It's the end of summer. Yeah.
Work."
Oh.
Obviously, this was the time before Zoom and remote working.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you could have stayed there the whole year, really, right?
Yeah.
At least for 3 years, but
then
so
we see rain. Then we see snow. Then we see the sun come out again. So we know like seasons are passing.
That might have been the coolest part of the episode. Yeah, the time lapse.
Cool, I agree. And then we have Brenda returning, and we here because we don't know if it's exactly 1 year, or she starts talking about 2, 3, 4 years in the future, and she's there again, and she hugs the rocks, and she goes, "Are you in there?" And then it makes some noise again, and everything like that, and she starts like confessing her love to this creature.
This is where this is where we need a discussion, because it's kind of weird, and I don't even know if we can figure it all out. But
I don't think we can.
Yeah, because she comes back to the island, and you can tell, and they, you know, she's older. They listen, she was 19 years old in real life, playing a young teenager, but you know, she's got this blouse on. You could tell she's a year older. I guess they wanted to make her look it. You know, you know what I'm talking about, Dave.
Yeah.
And yeah, she goes up to the big pile of rocks, and Ezra, thank you very much. $2 super chat. I don't know what that sound y'all just did, but whatever. LOL. Yeah, it was a little monster sound, you know, the gurgling of water and stuff, you know, just mixed together. But she goes to the rock, like you said, and hugs it, and starts to convey her, like you said, her love, her emotion. She gets very emotional and starts to cry. And what I didn't know, the last word or sentence, this is what I was confused about, because right before it ends, because she's saying she loves it. She doesn't really love anything, we know
Right.
this, but she says she loves, I love you, and then she says, we will be born together,
I,
or
I
we will be born tonight together, or
the last quote that I got was, "I will give you life."
okay, so
And
maybe you didn't write down that very last thing.
and none of that at all made any sense. What was weird to me was when
Hmm.
they panned down from her hugging the rocks, and the last words that she says, there's a rock
Cheers.
that's like a smile to its surface. And
Yeah.
again, it was kind of like Brenda's smile. And I didn't know if that was the creature inside, in terms of like saying that it was smiling and happy that she was there. It was just
There
odd,
was
disturbing, and I just, even if Brenda came back and let me free from that rock grave, I wouldn't trust her.
Yeah, no. Again, I don't get it. She left the island because she had to. Her parents were leaving, but everything up until the point of them leaving didn't make it seem like there was love there or anything. I mean, she's the one that brought the monster to the house to be killed or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And when she gets back, and that how she's confessing her love to it, a pile of rocks, and she knows it's alive because she says, I hope you're alive. And it makes that, this weird, sound to where she's alive. And again, the exact last sentence was like something like, we will be born together. We will be born tonight together. Something like that I couldn't make out. But even if it's like, I love you, we're going to be together. What does that mean, Dave?
I don't know.
She's going to get married to it and have rock baby kids. I mean,
I hope not.
no,
But
yeah. Or
the thing too is like, you can't run away from me. Like the butterfly did at the beginning of the film. You're stuck in this, so you can't go away, you can't hurt me, and I can be the one here.
and
I'm the one
why
that
why
knows you
wouldn't she
exist.
like tear down all the rocks to see
That's
what's
the first thing I would do.
yeah, I don't that's how it ends, people. It just cuts away with them, with her crying, holding the pile of rocks. And I guess it's based on a short story, and the story ends exactly the same way.
Hmm.
So there's no difference in the ending of both. So it's left you to interpret, and I can't figure it out. They don't really understand what it's about either, or how to interpret it, except that she loves the rocks, and let's cut here, Dave. This is it. Episode over. I mean, very
Maybe
weird.
maybe the short story writer ran out of paper and was like, I don't have any more paper. I'm just going to put the end at the bottom of this. Because, like the earlier and most
Can
night
you
gallery,
imagine if, yeah.
it's kind of like Twilight Zone. It's got some deeper meanings, it's got some things that we can talk about. And this one is like, eh, where do we take this one? I don't know.
There's nowhere to take it. I think somebody came in. Hey, Brian. What's up, Brian Kirk? Had to change the name, huh? Brian Kirkham is no longer Brian Kirk. Good to see you in the chat, Rosebud. Hello, Ramali. Ramalies. J.O.B. It says, doesn't seem like they are going to give this a good score. We will talk about that in a second. Hello, Matthew. Time warp of some kind. I think production came in and they got the axe and they said, let's stop this. We're done. For whatever reason, maybe somebody went home sick, and they couldn't come back for a couple months. And they said, well, we'll just end it here. This is kind of a good place to end it. Because I tell you, out of all the Night Gallery episodes, and this is based on a story which ends the same way.
Yeah.
I don't know why they took this and made it into a segment on Night Gallery. It's kind of,
It really didn't go with the night galleries that I've seen.
yeah, it had a totally different, weird, different ending. I don't know. It seems more that you could turn this into like maybe a horror movie or something like that and kind of expand on certain things and stuff, but not for a segment of Night Gallery. I don't know. It was a little weird. That's all that's all I can say about it, really. But yeah, Dave, yeah, that's it. As for scores, I mean, listen, I mean, it doesn't get as high of scores for other Night Gallery episodes. This one is a little bit lower. It doesn't get a 5, but this gets a 6.7 out of 10. And if you go to
IMDb, or is that you?
that's IMDb, 6.7. And I was going to say, if you go to like, let's see, season 2, let's just go season 2. You know, episode by episode, it's like 7.4, 7.2, 7.0, 6.8, 7.2, 7.4, 6.7 is where this one goes. So this looks, well, 2 episodes from now, we got a 6.6, Dave. So I don't know what that says, but those, well, and another 6.6.
Comes back.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe there's a couple flops like, you know, like Kolchak. Maybe there's a couple that like, you know, season 2 were like, this is a bit cuckoo, you know, I don't know. So it is what it is.
Maybe there was a writer's strike.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, left you hanging. Well, no, it literally was adapted from the story. So they did what the story did. So, but why you would adapt that into a Night Gallery is what I don't understand, because Night Gallery has been awesome and they've done some good stuff. But this week, I think we were hit with something a little weird, and I would give it probably I would probably give this a 6.0. Honestly, I mean, I think I'm right there at a 6.0.
Episodes or just one? Let's do them
separate. Okay, well that makes a little bit of a difference then, because Brenda's a 6.0.
All right.
The first one, not much better. I mean, I'm 6.2.
All right.
I think I said at the beginning I like Brenda that episode a little bit better, but I kind of went back on my word there. So,
all right. So I did a 6.0 on the first one. I thought it was pretty decent. Made you think a little bit, and it was a cool circular story. You know, it was cohesive. It was, you know, at the end of the day, you could say, yeah, this is pretty good. My favorite one so far has been the one when they're at the military academy, where like the kid killed the mom and the kid's got to go to the military academy for the rest of his life.
David Carradine. Yeah.
Yes. And so Brenda was a 4.8 for me.
Woo! Okay. Yeah. Yikes.
Not a good story. And quite honestly, I couldn't even watch it all the way through. I had to take a break. This cannot get any worse. It was.
Well, don't say that, Dave.
It was.
Okay. I mean, listen, I didn't think it was that bad, but no, I get it. 4.8 for Dave. 4.8. Wow. Okay, so anyways, next week, X-Files, The Jersey Devil.
All right.
Can't wait for that. Going to be a good one. Let's see. Tomorrow. Okay, so what we're going to do is no overnight stream tonight. Maybe I'll get one up tomorrow, but I'm working on hopefully getting to a week. And what my thought process was, the overnight streams maybe Wednesday and Fridays or something like that, so that people know what days their overnight streams are. But stay tuned. So anyways, Dave, your video drop over on your channel? Did it drop
earlier today? So please go over and watch me and Bo walking around the yard.
There you go. Haven't seen it yet, but any thing interesting? Always something interesting. But
well, Casablanca will in bloom. That's always fun.
Okay.
But summer. It's the dog days of summer, so we'll start to do some cool stuff in September.
Matthew says, I guess I need to watch the episode. Well,
I like
sure.
If Brenda had died, I would have given it an 8.2.
You know what, Dave? That would have made it way better if they went off the script or the story and the rocks came falling all down and he kind of brung Brenda in with them.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
That would have been like a topper. And then it would probably have went up to maybe a 6. I don't know. But anyways, one of my favorites is the poker game of all the gunslingers, says bass player 1966. Good to see you. Karen Banks. If I didn't say hi, hello. Good to see you. So anyways, with that said, until next time, Dave, do you got any last words?